Welcome to the Telescope Show. We laugh, we discover God, and we totally nerd out. Hello, my name is Matthew Seipel Anderson, and with me is...
Katie Seipel Anderson. You kind of have a grovelly voice this morning. What's going on here?
I haven't told you this before, but I'm Batman.
Good, I'm glad.
So, Katie, did you know that although it's a fabled creature, the national animal of Scotland is actually the mythical unicorn?
Is it actually?
Actually is, according to the internet.
Wow.
It's pretty amazing.
Well, the internet's never wrong, so.
Never. And according to the Federal Reserve, $1 bills only last 6.6 years. That's another fun fact I learned.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not a very big lifespan. What happens to them all?
I don't know.
A landfill someplace.
Chewed up in vending machines.
That could happen. Did you know that George Jetson from the 60s cartoon, The Jetsons, will be born sometime this year? I think I read like July or August or something
really?
like that.
Really?
Yeah, so that's kind of weird, huh?
The future is now. Well, Katie, did you know that Star Trek Picard Season 3 has already been filmed? Dun, dun, dun. Apparently they filmed Season 2 and Season 3 back to back, and you and I have been pretty big fans of Season 2. In fact, that's what we are talking about on our show today. So, Picard and company are trapped back in 2024, where they are trying to protect the future from ruin. And they're up against Q and the Borg Queen.
Those are kind of some nefarious creatures to be up against.
Oh, yeah. They're like the two best villains from Next Generation.
But they also both kind of have weird things going on with them. The Borg Queen doesn't have her like assimilated masses right now, so she's having needs.
Really quick. We need to say something. Spoiler alert. If you're listening, we are probably going to give spoilers for Star Trek Picard Season 2, so be advised. It's going to be fun, though. You're probably going to want to hear the spoilers because this show is going to be so amazing. But yeah, you're right. They are kind of... Both villains are like in unique positions.
Right, because Q feels like he's dying or going into nothingness. He kind of has this, I don't have meaning, I'm trying to find meaning, emptiness thing going on.
He's a sick Q, he's not well.
And then the Borg Queen is like looking for the high of the collective.
Yeah, she's an interesting character. She barely survived the death of her body, but she jumped over to another body, and now she's got herself and the original owner of the body, Agnes, kind of like fighting for control. And it's a pretty cool season. I've really enjoyed watching it. And as we are watching it, we've been, of course, talking about what we think is going to happen. And now there are only 2 episodes left. So today, we thought it would be fun to make some predictions. I feel like I need a good prediction sound effect. The future.
That's creepy.
How about this? We're going to make some amazing predictions.
I feel very like wrought on by that. Like, yeah, you make those predictions. Yeah. We can do this.
Our predictions are the best.
That's what it is. All right, what's your first prediction?
Well, I predict, I'm kind of just going way out. I'm just going to swing for the fence. I predict that the Borg Queen that showed up in episode 1 was actually Agnes.
Oh, because she's kind of the new future of like a different timeline that they create because they've gone to the past and they've totally messed things up going in the past. They're supposed to just like come quietly and like fix this thing and then leave, but they've been like, they've made all the connections with people that are going to mess up the timeline.
Right. I actually don't know if I really think that's going to happen, but I think that would be cool. I don't know what's going to happen. How about you? Do you have any predictions?
Well, they made this statement that kind of seemed to be foreshadowing when they said that the Borg Queen was trying to get whatever it is that she needs to be able to make her good connections. Like the connections she's trying to make with people when she's kind of almost trying to assimilate them isn't working. But then they said faulty tech means faulty assimilation. So I'm wondering, because she's desperate for this assimilation thing and it's not working very well, if the assimilations aren't going to be good or complete, and if that's going to kind of mess up the Borg Queen or create a different type of Borg.
Right, like maybe it'll be almost like zombie Borgs.
Could be zombie Borgs, or it gets like overwhelming for her and causes her demise, or they sometimes do what she says, but then they go off and do their own thing too. I don't know, but in some way, the assimilation might not be what it was before.
Right. And if I'm remembering right, the Borg Queen, being trapped in the past with the whole crew, she doesn't have really what she needs to do the assimilations, right?
That's what they seem to indicate in that last episode.
And she's doing weird things like eating car batteries to get certain metals to try to get to that point.
Yeah, but then she did get whatever she thought she needed from Dr. Soong.
Yeah, Dr. Soong, she connected up with him.
So I don't know. We'll see. But they made that kind of statement that said faulty tech means faulty assimilation. So it'll be interesting to see. And then we have got Agnes someplace inside of her. And how is that going to affect assimilation? It'll be interesting. It's kind of a wild card, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something come up because of faulty assimilation.
Right. I agree. I think that's a good prediction. I predict that Raffi will allow herself to be assimilated so she can connect to Agnes Girardi and stage a coup against the Borg Queen.
That would be a very risky thing. Although this is Picard, and he's known to be a little risky.
I was just thinking of, if I was a writer for this show, how could they take on the Borg Queen now that she's actually starting to assimilate people, but we don't know how it's going to work,
right.
But she's starting to assimilate people. And how could they possibly, take her down? I thought, okay, that's one way.
And they even said before that she manipulates people. I wonder if she'll go in there and try to kind of do manipulation with the Borg Queen. I don't know. That would be trying to go head to head with a Borg Queen is kind of.
Yeah, on her home turf. It would be interesting. I also predict that some of the characters from 2024 are going to be brought to the future, and maybe some of the characters from the future will be left in the past.
Oh, isn't that just going to mess up the timeline in an incredible way then?
Yeah, but what I could see happening is it might be necessary, like in the climax when things are all on a razor's edge. They get back to the future. The future is what it used to be for the most part, but oh shoot, we left 7 of 9 in the past.
It's also probably going to end on a cliffhanger because there's a season 3 and they've already filmed the season 3. So it's not like they're going to just decide not to do it. So
Right.
I think it's going to end on a cliffhanger. So it might be that they leave a lot of things undone, or it might be they get back to the future.
Oh!
It might be that they get back to the future and realize that they've messed up the future even worse.
You know what I would do if I was the writer? I think I would have them figure out a way to fix the future and deal with Q, but I would save the Borg Queen for season 3 because she's so much cooler and so much more complex. Yeah,
the Borg Queen has a lot going on with her.
She's a great villain. Okay, here's my final prediction. Oh, what?
I just had a new prediction.
Okay, lay it on me.
I wonder if somehow Q and Picard's lives are kind of tied together. And so if Picard ends up actually dying, then Q will too.
Ooh, so you think they're going to die together?
I don't know. But it seems like I could see them kind of tying their lives together in a weird sort of way.
I predict that Q dies in Picard's arms.
It could happen. It could happen. I laugh, but it would probably be a heart-wrenching scene, and I might have a tear if the scene actually happened. So
yeah, because Patrick Stewart is just that good. He could even pull that scene off.
Patrick Stewart isn't really known for his emotional reaction to things.
That's true, and Jean-Luc Picard isn't either.
His heart, or not Patrick Stewart. I'm sorry, Jean-Luc Picard.
It's true.
He doesn't have those heartwarming scenes where I'm caring for the sick and dying very often.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. We were talking earlier about the Borg Queen, circling back to her, and how she has this incessant need to be connected back to the Borg hive, and it's almost like an addiction.
Yeah, it's driving her to do kind of crazy things. And that's what 7 of 9 says. She has this need for that, and that's what's driving all of her actions.
And I think today in our culture, addiction is a huge issue. There's the fentanyl and
just substance
abuse in general.
Yeah, even lighter things maybe you don't struggle with substance abuse, but lighter things like social media can kind of have an addictive quality that has a dark side to it too.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a good litmus test when you're thinking about is something good for me, or is this getting to be too much, is maybe just asking the question, is this bringing me life and joy and feeling good, or is this draining me, making me feel anxious?
Yeah, sometimes you can scroll on social media and see stuff, and at first you're like, oh, cool, and then by the end you're kind of like, So it's good to like recognize if this is life-giving.
And when it comes to life-giving relationships, a relationship with God can be the ultimate life-giving relationship. I mean, the first thing we try to do every day is spend some time with God, and it's very life-giving. In fact, one of my favorite chapters is John chapter 15, where Jesus describes himself as like this vine and says we're almost like the little offshoot branches that pull the life from him. And so that's just a great description of how God can be life-giving for us. And speaking of connections, we want to connect with you all out there. So we want to encourage you, find us on Facebook.
And we'd actually like to know your predictions. If you'll email us or reach out with your predictions, next episode, we will say them on the air.
We shall.
Is it even called on the air anymore?
You know, the waves travel through the air still, so yes.
Okay, we'll go with that.
The email address is thetelescope@icloud.com. Otherwise, online, our website is www.thetelescopeshow.com. And we are going to call that a wrap. All right, love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.